This is Brandon Wright with Barnacle Systems, and this is a brief tutorial on the settings page on the Barnacle app. First, to navigate to the settings page, simply click on the settings icon. Once in the settings page, the first category that you will see is the camera. The capture hour settings are the photo schedule that you can set for the camera on your vessel. You can set what hour, so 9 being 9 a.m., or everything in military time you go 18, which would be 6 p.m. So you can set your settings for your 3 scheduled photos. Next is the rotation of the camera. This is if you've accidentally set your barnacle upside down, 90 degrees, 270 degrees, totally up to you. Next is the map. So the maximum GPS points indicates how many GPS points you will see on the map. If we would like to change it to say 5 GPS points, you have to save, navigate back to the map, and you will see that we now only have 5 GPS points on the map. GPS history start is allowing you to set when you want to see the history from your barnacle on the GPS map. So you could set a different date and time for your GPS positions. Your preferred unit, this is primarily used for setting your anchor. So we can set our preferred units to feet, navigate back to the map, check the anchor settings, and you can see that we are now doing everything in feet. Next is the batteries. Show on grid means that you're showing and hiding that particular parameter on the main statistics grid. So we can hide and then show our house battery, which allows it to appear and disappear. Alerts enabled is allowing alerts to be generated based on your maximum and minimum values. We can see that our maximum value is set to 14.5 volts and our minimum value is set to 10 volts. If you get a value outside of those values, you will generate an alert. You can change the name of the sensor. We do support emojis, as you can see. We can set how many decimal places you have for your battery voltages. And the offset is used if you are comparing the battery voltage that you read on the barnacle to another battery voltage device on your boat. Typically, this would be used if you're reading, say, 12.2 volts on a battery monitoring device on your boat, and then the barnacle is reading 12.15 volts. You can add an offset of 0.05 volts so that all your values are offset by that amount. Same for battery 2, battery 3, and battery 4. The bilge, this is our most complicated setting by far. So you can show and hide the bilge, similar to the batteries. You can generate alerts as well. In our case, we will want to generate alerts. You can change the name. Now, the long period alert, this is generating an alert if you have a bilge that runs 10 times in 24 hours. So you can change that to be in 12 hours and 5 times, for example. We also have the short period alert for when your bilge runs frequently in a short period of time. So that could be if your bilge has run 3 times in 30 minutes or 2 times in 30 minutes. The bilge on time limit is a duration alarm. So if your bilge runs for more than 15 seconds, for example, you can have the app generate an alert. You can set the name for the high and low of your bilge. So you can see that we have our high name set as pumping and our low name set as okay. So this means that when the bilge is on and actually pumping water, the app will show pumping for bilge. Next are your digital inputs. I will scroll down to our door sensor, which we have connected. So we have it on slot 4, which is digital input 4. We have it enabled with the show on grid. We have alerts enabled. We named it door. We also set the high name is closed and the low name is open. So this is when the door is closed, the input is read as high. Some sensors will be the opposite. So if, for example, you have a pressure mat, you're going to have the high name be the alert. So when someone steps on a pressure mat, that is when you're going to generate an alert. But in the case of a door, it's the opposite. So the low name will be open, and we want to alert on low. So when the door opens, we will generate an alert. The debounce time is setting how long that alert has to be active before you receive a notification. So by default, a door has to be open, or a digital input for that matter has to be on for more than 2 seconds before you'll generate an alert. This reduces the number of false alarms. But if you're looking to have an alert generated very quickly, you can set to something like 200 milliseconds, which is the equivalent of 0.2 seconds. If you are using a key fob, you can enable this input as a key fob. Photo on alert. So when this input is triggered as an alert, in our case low, meaning that the door has opened, we can generate a photograph. We can also tell the output to turn on or off. So in our case, we have turned on output 1 when an alert is generated by this door. In our case, on the boat, we have lights hooked up to our output 1, and when the door is opened, we are going to have a photo taken and the lights turn on. The next is our heel angle. The heel angle is the side-to-side motion of your boat, and this is displayed on the statistics grid as an angle in degrees. So the heel angle showing 0 degrees right now. You can set how many decimal places, you can have it generate alerts, and you can hide and show it on the grid. Humidity. This is pretty self-explanatory as well. You can set your decimal places, your offset in RH, your maximum and minimum values. Impact. Now this is a more unique sensor to the Barnacle, and this is everything measured in G's on your boat. So this is your boat's movement from side to side, forward and back, up and down. Currently we have a 0G impact shown on our vessel. If you want to be able to detect someone bumping into your boat at the dock, we suggest having a half a G alert, which will be a fairly significant impact. One thing we do recommend is looking at your graphs and comparing your impact data over time. So for us, this boat is on a mooring ball, and you see that we've had no impacts whatsoever. So if we even had a smaller value for impact, we would probably be able to get away with having an alert at 0.1 or 0.2 Gs, simply because there's not much activity that ever happens on this boat. The internal battery is the battery inside of the Barnacle. So this will tell you if the battery is charged or discharged. We typically don't show this on the stats grid, and we typically don't have alerts enabled simply because the Barnacle is always attached to house or starter batteries. If you have our all-in-one unit, you will have a motion sensor attached. If you have our external camera version, you will not have a motion sensor attached to your Barnacle. In order to set up the alerts for your motion sensor, make sure that alerts are enabled. You can set your high name, your low name, and when the motion sensor detects something or someone, it will trigger on high. Again, you can set a debounce time so that if you want the motion sensor to be highly sensitive, you can set it to a smaller debounce time, like 200 milliseconds. But by default, it has to see motion for a consistent 2 seconds before it triggers an alert. You can have it generate a photo, and you can have it output on an alert as well, similar to a digital input. The pitch angle, similar to the heel angle, is the movement of the boat, but this is the forward and back from bow to stern angle. This is generally movement due to waves. Barometric pressure. This can be changed to different units depending on your preference, and you can set a different number of decimal places. Shore power. This is the connection of your shore power, which requires one of our accessories such as the shore power plug or the shore power transformer. The high name will be connected, our low name will be disconnected, and generally you'll want to receive an alert on low. Temperature is the temperature inside of your cabin. This is measured at the barnacle itself. So this will give you your ambient temperature inside of your cabin. You can change the units, Celsius or Fahrenheit. You can add and remove your decimal places. You can add an offset. So if you have a thermostat or a thermometer on your boat that you want it to be relative to, you can add an offset so that it's equivalent to that other instrument. You can set your maximum and minimum values. The last is the pitch and heel calibration button. This simply sets your pitch and heel to 0 on the next reading from the barnacle. So when you first set up your barnacle, you will want to hit the calibrate button, and this will reset all of your pitch and heel values when you receive your next pitch and heel data points. That is the settings page of the barnacle. If you have any other additional questions, please feel free to reach out to us at ahoy@brnkl.io or visit our webpage help.brnkl.io. Thank you.